This is Eye on Hong Kong with Key.
And this is Harminder, and we'll be discussing the top news for the week involving Hong Kong and China. And welcome back to the second half of Eye on Hong Kong. As promised, we have
Soho of people power.
Hello. Yes.
Because they look so alike.
Yes, I am.
No, we have Alvin here.
No, I have the privilege to look like Soho. So I think that's an honor. Thank you for having me.
The English is quite good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Soho,
I never thought of that. We have
come
Alvin
on.
here.
Alvin Yeung from Civic Party, and lately you've been a very famous person.
Yes.
Well, is not something.
Not at the best circumstances. That's what I meant.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But well, that's life.
Yeah, that's life. So obviously, I'm going to ask you about Ronnie Tong. Since you're his protege,
Yeah.
you've been under. How long have you been working for him?
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And since he quit Civic Party, he quit his LegCo seat. He's pretty much nominated you to take over his LegCo seat.
He was very kind to name me.
Yeah.
And I think it was a very respectful thing for him to have resigned Civic Party and quit LegCo
Because he ran on the Civic Party platform, but now that he's not part of it, he felt that he couldn't continue.
Yeah, that's right.
It wouldn't be fair.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he was kind enough to name somebody from the Civic Party he thought that person could do a relatively fair job. So somehow I was on the list.
What do you mean somehow? Of course, all legislators have a protege, that they would like to follow, or somebody up and coming in the party that they'd like to come through. So I'm not that surprised that somebody was named in the party. So it's you at this moment. Now that that he's named you, though, do you have the support from the Civic Party at the same time?
Well, I've been working for the party in the past few years. I've been in the district. I've been in New Territories East in the past few years. So the party has been very supportive, not only Ronnie, but the party itself.
Okay.
So say for example, when I was doing the Fai Chun during New Year's time, Audrey came all the way and did a few sections for me, so to show her support.
Right.
So it's a very party thing. Yeah.
But here's the problem. If you're Ronnie Tong's, and this is what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah.
If you're Ronnie Tong's protege, you've worked under him. You agree with some of his policies, I'm assuming. Obviously, you wouldn't work for him. But if his ideals were conflicting with the Civic Party's ideals, wouldn't that mean that yours would also conflict with his? Or do your ideals actually are more in line with the Civic Party's than his?
If I am that in line with Ronnie, I would have gone with him. Would I not?
Good point.
So I am a Civic Party member. I joined the Civic Party, not the Ronnie Tong's party.
Okay.
Right.
But I respect him. I respect Ronnie very much. Having said that, I am stick to Civic's line. That is, well, I'm sure your next questions would be my stance on China.
Probably.
And perhaps I can elaborate.
All right.
I mean,
the one country, two systems.
Yeah.
Well, probably that's
the civics. We are always the basic law party.
Right.
We uphold the civic law, the basic law. We uphold the rule of law.
Right.
And in fact, I don't see a big difference between Alan, who represents the party, or Ronnie, in a sense that we uphold our basic principles, our core values. We highly regard them.
Right.
So, if anything that infringes the civics core values, that is the Hong Kong core values, how we regard it, then of course we'll stand and say no to Beijing. Well, there's of course something that can differentiate me and Ronnie. Say, Occupy Central.
He wasn't for that.
He was not particularly supportive. In fact, I did a bit of help during the period.
Right.
I was one of the pro bono lawyers. So we have a different approach. We have a different stance, especially on OC. So I mean, there are, of course, you can find something common, and of course, there are many things in common.
You see, this is good that you're clearing it up, because this is the perception some people have, is like, well, they just think you're a younger clone of Ronnie Tong.
You know, Ronnie is a very successful barrister.
Absolutely.
And you are going to be one.
No, I mean, I am far from that. And not to mention his, you know, the dollar sign in his bank account. I don't think I'm anywhere near.
Well, but would you say that it's a good time to resign at this moment? Because there's only one more year to...
Yeah. Why not just go through the entire year?
I think he has... Well, of course, it's better to ask him.
Well, true, but since you were most close to him when it came to...
I cannot answer on his behalf, I'm afraid.
Okay.
But I would have thought that the reason behind is he has done his major duty. That is to veto the constitutional reform. And that's it. He doesn't want to stay at LegCo. Well, he has talked about it from time to time, that he's tired of LegCo. He doesn't find it particularly useful to stay at LegCo. So perhaps this is the time for him to go.
What do you think about his new think tank, Path to Democracy?
I would very, very much hope that he can get something constructive done. I mean, I am sure that even him or the think tank shares the same value, at least some of them. With us, that is a genuine democracy.
Right.
So if he can get that achieved, then I'm sure that will be something we all respect and we'll all welcome to see.
Now, if you were to run for this by-election seat, have you decided, or are you still...
I cannot say much.
Okay. Well, let's say... I'll put the hypothetical. Let's say you run. Okay. Now, there have been talks, though, of Albert Chan, let's say, who have said, and he said this on Newsline that's going to air tomorrow. He said that he would like to see a heavyweight take the seat. That means Audrey or Tanya Chan or maybe even Margaret Ng, right? Do you feel that, okay, there's a year left, wouldn't it be better for them to take that seat? Because, you know, the geographical constituency is right now split in favor of the Pan Democrats by one vote.
That is right.
And so it'd be better to secure that vote with a well-known face and let you maybe run in 2016, which is just next year. Right? You work the district, you know, you work the area of New Territories East in that time, build your profile, and then do 2016. Do you think that's a good idea, or you'll just leave it to the party?
Well, I think Albert's suggestion is absolutely sensible, fairly speaking. Of course, I mean, every election, every single seat is very important.
Sure.
Let's be fair.
Yes.
The buy is important, so as the next general election.
Yes.
Because the Pandem has to secure the veto power.
Right.
That is 1/3 of seats. Well, in that regard, of course, those seats will become very important. But can you really fill all these seats with a heavyweight, if we think about it? I mean, I do not disagree with Albert's logic, but we have other ways to look at this matter. We are lawyers.
Right.
So we can stand on the other point of view to look at it. If every single seat is important, if every single time we have to fill with a heavyweight, then when will the lightweight have a chance?
Well, I think they mean the lightweights will have a chance when it's the general election time instead of a by-election, because by that time you've built your profile, right, to a point where people recognize you. Oh yeah, okay, well, I know Alvin, he's been around the area, he's been helping out, he's been doing this and that. But with the by-election being so sudden, now you have to scramble your resources and start, you know, visiting all the kaifongs and everything and try to rally support. I think that's where Albert Chan's coming from, is,
well, I think that's
half the work is done just by name recognition, you know.
Well, of course, that is why I cannot disagree with Albert. But I'm just inviting the audience to think of this matter from another angle.
But in the past years, then what have you done in that district to enhance your popularity there?
Well, I've been visiting residents. I've been, especially in relations to the building management ordinance, a lot of IOs, that is incorporation of owners, they have been seeking help
Okay.
from the civics, especially this is legal issues. Sometimes they don't really understand what's going on. So I've been doing that. That is a major part
Right.
of my job. But if I may, I wish to go back to
Right.
the question earlier. If you all remember what happened in 2000, year 2000, when I think that was Chen Gai Lam. He resigned from LegCo
Right.
soon after the scandal.
Right.
Right.
Remember who we filled with that seat?
I actually don't remember.
Our Audrey.
Ah.
And back then, was Audrey a heavyweight?
No. Was she? No. Not really.
Well, I mean, if we did not give Audrey the chance, then I'm not entirely certain whether we still have Audrey now.
Hey, you're making good points. I'm
Yeah.
just bringing up points that others have brought up, and we're giving you the chance to.
Yeah, I
just-
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And in fact, I highly respect Albert's point of view. I think that is sensible. But when it comes to an election, when it comes to personnel matters, we have to think from another angle as well.
Are you ready for your challengers? Because we've been hearing most likely the DAB is going to challenge this seat because they're the biggest party. They have the most resources. Why wouldn't they? It would just wouldn't make sense if they didn't. It'd be like they'd be just handing a seat then. So most likely you'll get a challenge there. But there's also been talk of independents, like Letitia Lee.
And,
to run.
Also the localism group.
Localism groups have also been, making some rumblings online.
Yeah.
So
That is fine. That is perfect.
I mean, is Civic Party ready to put out someone who's young enough to, run this seat? Are you guys really ready for that?
Assuming, let's put on another hat. Assuming I am not the one who were being speculated as one of the possible contenders, as just a ordinary civics second generation, I'm very confident to say not only Alvin Yeung, but other members of the civics, the second generation of the civics, are always ready to go to the battlefield. So
you mentioned that in a press conference that you're like a soldier and you don't ask
We
where
don't
the
really
battlefield is. Yeah, you just go. Well, that's you're making very good, valid points in my opinion, and I personally, I hope you run, right?
Thank you.
Personally, I hope you run, and it'd be nice if Civic Party can retain its a seat in New Territories East, and also continue to be, I guess, the largest party in the Pan Democrats in terms of LegCo seats.
I think we have to we were the co-largest.
It's 5 seats, isn't it?
Well, we
Democratic
now
has 4.
We now have 5.
Yeah.
Before we had 6. DP has 6.
Oh, okay.
To Albert and James, the super seats, and 4 geographical.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
When you talk about the second generation of the Civic Party, who are they? We don't really know them that much because there's too many stars in Civic Party. We only know the big names. Who are the second generation?
We have the very handsome pilots.
Oh, right.
Jeremy.
We had him on a show.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah.
That's true.
We had him on our show.
Well, who else then?
Well, Jeremy, of course, is one.
Yeah.
Well, I regard Tanya as half a second generation.
Well, I think that she just kind of got screwed out of a second seat, her seat, in my opinion.
What do you mean?
Oh, she had almost just a few more votes than she
Oh, I
would have.
voted her.
that much.
actually.
Yes,
That
that much.
much.
It's just that much.
So
left.
that makes her younger.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she's the young heavyweight. How's that?
Okay.
She's the young heavyweight.
Yeah,
She's
and-
the veteran of the youngsters.
That
How's
is right. She is
There.
much younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the others are very young and
Yes.
hot.
They're veterans. I call them veterans. I don't call them anything else. They're veterans. What about Ken Jeong? Has he?
I'm not entirely.
Because he's unfortunately infamous for the wrong reasons.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but Ken, he has been around.
Yes.
Yeah. He's been on a show.
He was, you know what? He was Ronnie's running mate in 2008.
Yes, they put
good
up the
point.
picture on the Facebook.
Good point. Okay.
So all these people, they've been around.
It's just that they're not in the media so much that we tend to forget.
Yeah.
Or sometimes
One
have
day is
different-
too long
or
in
they have
politics.
different labels, they have
Right,
different
right.
hats.
Right.
So sometimes you just forgot. Oh, right. Say pilot, Jeremy.
Okay.
Well, he has a stronger pilot image
Right,
than
right.
a CP image, perhaps.
Well, I think he fits CP so well, the professionals and the middle class and all that. So he's like perfect for the Civic Party if he was a
Yeah.
pan-Democrat civic moderate.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So I would say, see, we have.
Yeah, you do. You do
have a
have
few.
some. You have a few. Oh, that's a good point to make.
So people would like to know you more personally, like
Right.
Your background, your
background,
education, all that stuff.
What do you like to do? I mean, usually I met you and then I in a meeting or something. Then I don't really know you much. What do you do? What kind of hobbies? Or are you single? Or are you married? Or what? I mean, people
This
do
is
like
not a
to
dating
know.
show. Ion Hong Kong. Look at the name of our show.
People do like to know you a bit more.
Yeah, it's
It's not single in Hong Kong, but I think people would like to know who you
Or
are.
dating.
Yeah, dating in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Show
you.
idea. That's a show idea.
Is a very good opportunity in fact. Everyone has a different side, especially when you're in a political arena. You always put up a certain face.
Right.
But I agree. Especially in this in the age of Facebook,
Right.
people wish to know who the hell you are.
Right, right.
Can I really say that word?
Yes.
Okay, all right. People,
Yeah. PG-13 in here.
people love to know who you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
So I do not hide myself from the public arena, from the audience. I am single. I'm not married, but I have a very stable girlfriend. I am a barrister. I do a bit of criminal law. I grew up in I grew up in Hong Kong till 13 or 14. Then I was sent to Canada. Wasn't really with my family, but I was sent to a boarding school. So I really had start my independent life.
Okay.
Early.
Quite early.
Yeah.
And it was fun though.
No, that's good.
Yeah. We were talking about Canadian. and-
Both in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely country.
Yeah, it is.
I obtained my Canadian passport during that period. Went to a university in Ontario and studied political science. Then I went to Beijing, Peking
Really?
Uni,
Okay.
for a law
What'd you
degree.
study? A law degree. Okay.
Yeah, for 3 years. So I had this quite unique or unusual choice.
Right.
Then I went to England. I went to Bristol for my law and returned to Hong Kong. I gave up my Canadian passport in 2012 when I was
3 years ago. Yeah.
Ronnie's running mate. What do? I love books. I love reading.
Good.
I do a bit
We
of
have a
reading.
lot in common, actually.
Yeah.
Read magazine.
I read a bit of history.
We have a lot in common. actually.
I am a big fan of Churchill. Not sure if you are.
Certain things.
Do you like Trudeau? Pierre Trudeau?
Certain things.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of these two
Okay.
politicians.
So though there, you would say your political idols.
Yeah.
Okay.
So since you're talking about books, I would love to jump in because I'm an intellectual person.
Yeah,
So
okay.
do you read 100毛too?
Of course.
Okay.
I love them. I don't have a lot of time reading magazines, but 100毛 is certainly something that can, brighten up.
Why don't you
the day.
explain to our English audience what that is?
100毛 100毛 is a local teenager magazine, I would say, or
it's like do they have really anything equivalent in the Western society?
it's more like a parody or
Mad Magazine?
yeah,
something
sort of,
like
yeah.
that.
Mad Magazine?
Yeah, they put up a lot of jokes. They make fun of the politicians,
Right.
Especially the leftists, the pro-establishment.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's jump back into a little bit about politics, since that you're going to be jumping in the arena. Let's say right now the government's pulled the funding for the ITB,
Yeah.
and they've gone ahead with livelihood issues. The liaison office is putting on a friendly face now with the Pan Democrats.
yeah.
Suddenly.
Well, especially with Apple Daily, they
Right.
allow them to get in.
They allowed, we got the first inside look of the liaison office, at least the lobby part, and that was unprecedented. We have Yeung also saying, "Hey, I'd love to meet the
Civics."
the Civics, and
Yeah.
come in, we'll have some food, and we'll talk, social and livelihood issues, no politics. We'll just talk about what do you make of all this 180 change all of a sudden?
Perhaps they have heard of my name, so they have to get ready.
Let's get ready for these young people. I know they like food, so let's offer them food. No, but what do you think about this 180 subtle turn from a lot of the not the pro-establishment? They're pretty much the same that they always were, but everybody behind them suddenly is changing their hearts.
Well, I think the
Wang Guangya called them friends, Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Suddenly there's a 180 turn in the last week.
Well, one day is too long in politics.
Yeah, that's true. But why? There's a reason behind it. They're not just doing it out of the goodness of their hearts.
I think it might be too early to make any judgment. You see what happened in the past week.
Right.
The WhatsApp scandal.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And of not to mention the walkout and all this idiot things that you can see. I think this Beijing they need time to sink in and to review the strategy,
Right.
and to make a smart move. The friendly face perhaps is something that now constitutional reform has got vetoed in such an ugly way.
Very.
So we have to adjust a bit. We can't put on the tone, the joker face.
Yeah.
We need a bit of smile.
Okay.
A smile, but is it still, a velvet glove or an iron fist?
Exactly.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I mean, never overestimate their friendliness or underestimate their poker face.
That's true.
I mean, in politics, we Hong Kong people, this is not the first time we deal with Beijing.
Right.
So,
but since 2003, they've gotten more hardline. Since then, and all the way up until the last couple of weeks, they were extremely hardline. But now the trend is going the other way. Do you think that this is a long-term trend, or is it just to get through the next couple of weeks of funding and then?
I feel like I am a commentator on the stock market. We talk about trends.
Well, that's how it is. The trend from 2003 has been like that. Now the trend's going the other way.
I would never ever going to say Beijing will stick to one strategy. You see, they are like the gods in the mythology Greeks. There are many gods up there.
Right.
And they're probably fighting with each other.
Yeah.
And you never know which side is going to win or which side is going to take lead. So this particular smile, I would not give too much reading to it. I would say, just hold on a bit.
If they're Greek gods, does that mean Xi Jinping Zeus? Because he's a...
Wow.
Well, I mean, we are just the ones who are looking at the drama, checking out, watching the drama, and better just leave them fight with each other.
Dennis Kwok introduced an amendment this week.
Yep. On the basic law.
Yeah, to basically bring back the original intention of one country, two systems.
That is right.
As it was from the 80s to the early 90s. It was vetoed. No surprise there. Or I should say voted down, not vetoed, voted down.
Yeah.
What did you think about that? Do you think that what's the difference between one country, two systems then to now, and why do you think this amendment was, if you support it or don't support it?
Well, of course, I'm with Dennis. The rationale behind the bill is, look, this is a machine, or this is a body,
Right.
or a person. I would say you should say a person. Somebody's feeling unwell. After 18 years, this person is 18 years of age, Hong Kong, after the hangover. This person is saying, I'm feeling unwell. So we need to see what happened. Somebody is saying, don't worry, just go on, just live whatever life you have been living. Some say you need an operation. And some say you have to jump into the operation room and do an operation. But what happened? What went wrong? Well, our observation is he has been living a wrong life. He has to go back to the original plan of his life. or the machine, if we use a machine, this machine is overused or wrongly used. That is the basic law. The basic law in the first place was supposed to distinguish China and Hong Kong in a certain way. You just leave defense and diplomacy to the central government. The
Right.
rest, you just deal with it. Our observation is in the past years, especially after 2003, hang on, this boundary is getting a bit loose. We just need to go back to the boundary.
They're
Okay.
blurring the lines.
Then what do you see these pro-establishment legislator rushing to the liaison office to explain or to
After the vote.
after the vote?
Oh,
They
dear.
just did their press conference. We're waiting for FASO. And bye. And then they ran to the liaison office.
That is just making everything so blunt.
Yeah.
I mean-
who runs them?
Exactly. I mean,
Is it in violation of the basic law?
off
22.
Off.
Article 22.
of bloody course.
yeah.
It's just so.
But they don't see it
stupid.
that way. The pro-establishment makes excuses after excuses after excuses of why China is allowed to blur the lines and slowly interfere into Hong Kong affairs.
That is why. That is something we have to remind Hong Kong people that, hey, look at Article 22. Hey, look at the intention of the basic law. Look at what Deng Xiaoping said in the first place.
Right.
If we stick to the original plan, then all this nonsense could be gone. Oh, well, may not be gone, but we have to stay alert and we have to criticize these people.
But it seems that China thought that because they allowed the original intention of the basic law to run up until 2003, they think that is what caused the massive protests against Article 23 in 2003 and said, that was wrong, this is right.
Well, it's not the law that went wrong, it's the people. They use Tong Chi Hua. You see, oh dear. I mean, whenever we
Our
mention
beloved elder statesman.
precisely, yeah.
Right. So, okay. So it was actually because of the chief executive that they elected that was the fault. But they, of course, blamed the people.
Well, of course, but then if a machine is not working properly, you blame the person who controls it, not the machine itself. If the machine was properly constructed,
Right.
then you have to ask what went wrong. We say it's the one who controls it.
Makes perfect sense. And, because I was listening to some of that debate, and while the Pan-Democrats were bringing up historical quotes and facts from Lu Ping to Deng Xiaoping to Chris Patton, the pro-establishment was just absolutely just making excuse after excuse of the Pan-Democrats are just street fighters. They just kept blaming the person, the Pan-Democrats, but not arguing the points.
Well, that's the quality of the pro-establishment.
But then why do so many people support them? That still baffles my mind.
I honestly do not know.
But I see that the 1st of July march will come very soon, and then one of the theme is that they call for amendments of that basic law. What do you think about that?
I think we have jumped a step. I would go back to the analogy of a person who doesn't feel well.
Okay.
You cannot rush to the clinic and say,
I have
need
to rush you
medical-"
because we only have a minute, so sorry. We have 1 minute left.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You do not go to the clinic and ask for medicines. You need a body check. So we have to do a body check. That is a review of the basic law and the
Okay.
operation of such. If there is a conclusion that whatever has to amend, then of course we can try to talk to the society and see what Hong Kong people think.
So do we need something the equivalent of a constitutional convention like they do in other countries?
Well, maybe that's a bit too far-fetched for now, but we have to start talking. We have to start reviewing of the basic law first. Not everybody knows what happened.
That might be considered subversion in the eyes of Beijing, though.
Oh, that is why we have to handle with care.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alvin Yeung, for coming
Thank you very
in.
much.
Alvin.
Thank you for having me.
Very informative, and we wish you the best of luck.
Pleasure. Thank
Any
you.
Facebook,
Thank you so much.
Twitter, anything you want to plug?
Alvin Yeung, that's my name. You can find my page.
On your page, okay.
And we have our last segment.
We have our last segment, and it's the Shame on You Award, but I'm baffled. Who do we give it to? This week has just been funny. Nobody's really been bad, just funny.
I actually will nominate Jasper Dunn.
Oh, well, why didn't I think of that? This is what happens when your brain is fried sometimes.
Yeah, because he should be, impartial, right? But
Absolutely, and he absolutely violated that with
Yeah.
his WhatsApp messages and calling other legislators bandits and
yeah,
Dear.
and such. And and I don't want to do this because I highly respect him. I do. I don't agree with him, but I respect him.
Well, you had the word ED, right? Respected.
Yeah, respected, right? And that respect has been shot. So, Jasper Jung Singh, you have just received the
Shame on you.
award. And, I never thought I'd actually give it to him, but
Well,
we had to.
finally.
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 Nobody's immune from the pro establishment from this award, it seems. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you.
And you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/IONHK pod, Twitter /IONHK pod, and we're still on iTunes, so search Ion Hong Kong if you'd like the audio version. And of course, you can find Alvin Yeung's Facebook page and the Civic Party's Facebook page if you want to follow him. And that's it for this week. Goodbye.
Bye.